Well, there's an increase in diseases around the globe, and we're seeing it in the younger and younger people getting many autoimmune diseases and diabetes and hypertension and cancer and strokes. Metabolic syndrome is wrong. The answer of what's caused disease is simple. It's our diet. Poisoned by plants. You cannot kill a plant because the plant's going to kill you.
Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. We're the Carnivore Couple. I'm Pat.
And I'm Caitlin.
And today we have a very special guest. He founded one of the largest fertility clinics in the US, and he's huge in the carnivore and low carb space. So we are privileged to welcome Dr. Robert Kiltz to our channel today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here and chit-chatting about the importance of what we put in our bodies.
So for those watching that don't know anything about you, can you give us a little bit of your background and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a fertility doctor. I own and run CNY fertility centers with about 600 others, and we've been taking care of people for nearly 30 years, and IVF, but also with natural methods of fertility, integrating Eastern Western medicine, acupuncture, massage, meditation, prayer. We do a lot with immunology, and do some things that I think most people haven't been really taught. And I've learned about keto and carnivore, and personally, I believe that our diets are the cause of our disease, and a standard diet of a plant-based, low animal fat causes all disease, and being infertile is just another human disease.
Why did you decide to become a fertility doctor in the first place? What set you on that path?
Well, let's see. I was a 19-year-old when I broke a leg and met a doctor that inspired me to be a doctor. And I loved surgery and primary care and delivering babies in my medical school. So I was attracted to become an obstetrician and gynecologist. I went to UC Davis Medical School. I did residency in internal medicine, and then switched over to OBGYN and finished my residency in Colorado in 1990. I worked at Kaiser in Sacramento area in 1991, and I met a doc, and he was teaching me a lot of fertility stuff, and it was like, wow, I love this. And one day someone called me and said, do you want to do a fellowship? I said, sure. Yeah. And I did that in California training, and then I practiced a couple of years in upstate in Northern California, and then I moved to upstate New York, to Syracuse area. And I've been practicing this for 30 years plus.
And I bet you've helped so many people, because I'm kind of in that age where lots of my friends are having babies and trying to get pregnant. And it's crazy the amount of friends that I have who they think like they're going to start trying, they're going to grow their family. And then all of a sudden it's become this huge journey that they never expected they were going to have to deal with. So you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but is there an increase in infertility happening in the US right now? And what do you think is maybe causing that?
Well, there's an increase in diseases around the globe, and we're seeing it in the increases in younger and younger people getting many autoimmune diseases and diabetes and hypertension and cancer and strokes, but at all ages. We see that healthcare costs are on the rise. The number of drugs are going up. People are on more and more drugs than ever before. And my basic sense is it's our healthy diet that's killing us. We evolved as carnivores. We kind of wandered over to the herbivore world, but we're mostly omnivores. We can't eat plants, but we focused on farming rather than on hunting. And I believe the cause of disease is our recommended healthy diet, which is mostly fruit, fiber, vegetables, seeds, nuts, lean meat, little to no red meat, and eat 3 to 6 meals a day, when calorically you probably only need about 1 meal a day or less. And that's really the bottom line. Plants and protein in excess kill us. And the plants are live organisms that know how to control us and kill us. And basically all plants are sugar. Sugar is bad for us of any significance or frequency. Plants contain chemicals and antigens, oxalates, phytates, lectins, glutens, that are antigenic. And then chemicals, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine. And then there's a host of estrogen, progestins, saponins, cyanides, and other things that are in the plants that damage every part of our body. And then the fermentation of fruit, fiber, vegetables in the gut, which makes alcohol. And so the answer is simpler than we know, but science and medicine likes to say, oh, it's complicated. It's Occam's razor says the simple answer is the one. And I'm 68. I went carnivore at 55. I've never felt better in my life. Arthritis, psoriasis, kidney stones, migraines, bowel bleeding, gone. Anxiety, depression, worry, regret, gone. And so if I'm feeling so good, and I do a little bit of weights, I do a little bit of walking, I don't do anything major. Actually, when I stopped exercising, I felt better. And when I stopped exercising 15 years ago, it was like, okay, because I was falling apart. But I think ultimately the answer of what's caused disease is simple. It's our diet.
Do you think there are some plants that are less toxic than others, or would you recommend eliminating all of them from your diet?
Well, it's likely that the plants we eat in our diet are less toxic than the plants we don't eat. And likely because over time, we figured out don't eat that one or use that as poison for your neighbor, but we can eat this with very little manipulation and preparation. But if you want to eat that, you better learn to soak it, ferment it, grind it, or cook it properly in order to remove the toxins or eat it very infrequently. All plants have some toxicity, and all plants break down to sugar in the gut. And plant sugars are antigenic, meaning they elicit an inflammatory reaction that may be subtle and you never even know it. A little sniffle, a little cough, a little itch over here. But you can even have an anaphylactic reaction will kill you in about 2 minutes. If you look at research and studies on plant poisons, plant toxins, the list is humongous. They say that meat, particularly red meat, causes heart disease and cancer. And it just never makes sense to me. But I think that there's a propaganda that that basically has been served up for thousands of years to keep the masses weak and meek. The masters eat the meat. The masses are the workers in the fields, slaves, soldiers, peasants, and prisoners. And think of the work it takes to plant and cultivate and do all the backbreaking work. You never see the kings and queens doing that, do you? But they're hunting. But they're hunting, right? The meat, the master meal. We are all easily duped.
I was going to mention that I saw something with Dr. Chafee talking about one time where back in the medieval times, the kings and all the royalty, they would get all the meat, and all the peasants and the prisoners would get the vegetables. So that's kind of interesting to learn that.
We might let them have a little bit of meat, but it was the cheap meat.
Yeah.
The ribeye. Why do they call the ribeye the king and queen cut? And so we've chastised fat and obesity. We blame disease on fat and obesity, but maybe that's not the cause of disease. Maybe the cause of disease is a plant-based lean meat diet. And if you think about it, most people eat fruit, fiber, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and products made from that. And then they eat lean meat, turkey, chicken, tenderloin, lean burgers, turkey burgers, and turkey bacon. And I know for me, it was always like, okay, I want the leanest meat, not the fattest meat. Cut the fat off, move it out the side, right? But it turns out that actually that practice is the cause of disease, because most people don't know that protein breaks down to amino acids. And amino acids are sugar-like. They go to the liver and they convert to fat via insulin. But because we consume a lot of protein, there's something called protein poisoning or rabbit starvation. My bet is that's a significant cause of disease in our world, especially in America, where we have tons of access to lean meat.
I know in the US, especially, really throughout the world, but there's an epidemic of type 2 diabetes and obesity running rampant in our society. How does that relate to fertility or overall health in general?
Well, inflammation is the cause of disease, and type 2 diabetes, we call it insulin resistance. In my opinion, it's liver damage. So now the job of the liver is to make fat out of amino acids and sugars via insulin. Is the liver doing a good job of doing that in America and in the world? Is it making a lot of fat for a lot of people?
Yeah.
Yep.
So now, is it better to be fat or skinny in war, in famine, in pestilence, disease, migration, immigration, hibernation?
Better to be fat if there's a
Sure.
famine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, is it better for a woman to be skinny or fat in pregnancy?
Well, during pregnancy, I mean, obviously, more, a little bit more fat is
I mean,
probably
I think
better.
that's why you usually gain weight when you're
Mhm.
pregnant.
So now the question is, what is the building block for your baby? Is it the food in your stomach, the fat on your body, or the muscles?
That makes so much sense. Of course, it's the fat on your body. So then why are all these doctors telling women it's dangerous when you get into ketosis and your body's using what it's stored for the baby?
Because they don't
Okay.
understand the physiology of the human body.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with our metabolism, by the way. Metabolism is fine. This metabolic disorder is not our problem. Our
Mhm.
problem is poisoning from plants
Yeah.
and protein. And
Mhm.
so there's something called the glycobiome. The glycobiome is the sugars that are critical in and on your cells of your entire body. That's called the glycocalyx. The sugar layer is the mucopolysaccharide layer that has a negative charge that is critical for fluid balance and vascular function, epithelial function in your gut, in your reproductive system, and all of your body. So the sugars are also the barcode that label us who and what we are. All organisms have their own barcode. And all of us as humans have different barcodes. That's why we can't take anyone's organ and put it in anyone else without understanding their HLA antigen loci, which basically is a sugar molecule. That's the barcode. Your blood type is determined by different sugars, not different proteins. So the DNA develops and tells the RNA how to make a protein, but it's the sugars that bind to the proteins and the lipids that give it its charge, its shape, its function, its pH. Now, I'm sounding a little complicated, but it's really simple, okay? Without the proper sugar layer, you don't work right and you have inflammation. And so the sugars turn the nanomotors, they move the muscles, the neurotransmitters are glycoproteins, which are sugar proteins. And so we in science don't understand the glycobiome very much because none of us have studied it, but it's the critical foundation of the function of our body. So when you eat plants, their glycobiome is different. We react to those glycobiomes with an allergic reaction. Allergy is called redness, swelling, pain, heat, dysfunction of the cell, death of the cell, or dysfunction and death of the organ, your kidneys, your lungs, your liver, your brain, your eyes, your skin, your joints, your muscles, your testicles, your ovaries, your reproductive system. Okay? So the sperm and the egg have their own sugar layer that requires the sperm and egg to say, yes, you're the right sperm and egg. Let's now mate and make an embryo. And then the embryo has a sugar layer that must implant properly into the proper sugar layer of the uterus. So if the sugar layer is damaged, secondary to eating a high plant-based diet, which contains sugars, antigens, chemicals, and fermentation in the gut. So if I'm putting a lot of sugar into your gut, it's damaging the gut. The sugars also damage the liver. As the liver function drops, the insulin and glucose levels rise, which then cause more damage in your body. So now the adipose tissue that you eat or you carry contains the amino acids, the simple sugars, the fatty acids, and all the minerals and vitamins as a building block of your baby and the repair and building of new cells in your body. If you're a bear, a black bear, brown bear that hibernates after getting fat and pregnant for 6 to 8 months, what's the baby growing on?
Fat.
Now, when we say fat, we don't understand that an adipocyte, the adipose tissue, contains cells that contain the amino acid proteins, the simple sugars, the glycans, the fatty acids, the cholesterol, and every mineral and vitamin your body needs to build a baby. But if I'm feeding you 3 to 6 plant-based meals a day, lean meat, is your gut ever empty of food from the day you're born to the day you die?
No.
People having multiple bowel movements a day, at least one bowel movement every single day. So that means what you put in is pushing something out. And then the fruits, fiber, and the amino acids, the vegetables, also, they're fermenting. So fermentation makes what? Alcohol. So now, wait a minute. My gut is fermenting and making alcohol. Does that mean alcohol circulating in your bloodstream as a young child, as an adult, as an old person, because you're eating a high plant-based diet that's going to mess up the brain, mess up every organ system, and it's going to kill those egg, sperm, and embryos without hesitation? Would you give a pint of beer to a child every day or an adult every day and say, hey, this is good for you?
No.
The science is simple. Plant-based diet is a fermenting diet, which ferments mostly in the colon. Fermentation in the colon causes heat, gas, alcohol, aldehydes, methane. Bad for all of us. Plus, the colon is hotter. It sits right on top of the ovaries, tubes, uterus, the prostate, and it is basically damaging your most sensitive reproductive organs. But it's complicated and we can't understand it completely. So I'm sorry, you're unlucky. Your DNA, your genes. I mean, really? Again, I'm a physician, a researcher, a scientist. I dig deep and read everything, but I also question everything.
Yes.
Is glucose the energy for the mitochondria? No way. Every cell of your body does not take glucose and convert it to pyruvate, ATP. It doesn't do that. The liver does. The liver converts your ingested glucose, your ingested fructose, your ingested amino acids, and sends them to the liver, and via insulin in the liver, they're converted to fat. Okay, so what disease is common in the liver?
I would say fatty liver.
Now, is that a disease or is that what the liver's supposed to do?
Good question.
Remember, if you don't have food for 3 to 5 days, what's your fuel for your body?
You're fat.
You're fat. Your liver is always circulating acetyl-CoA that converts to acetoacetate, beta-hydroxybutyrate, and acetone, which are ketone bodies, which then go to the cells of the body and even the adipose tissue, convert them back to acetyl-CoA in order to make ATP and or more fat. But in fact, fat is not made in the periphery. It's made in the liver. That's the only place it's made. And the reason you know that is because a liver failure patient is cachectic, emaciated, and they cannot make fat. Yet they have insulin and glucose circulating in high levels. So this idea that glucose is your energy first, and then you convert to burning fat makes no sense.
So you're saying it's more that the glucose that we eat is converted to fat that our body then uses as fuel.
Right. Fuel is basically, in order to provide fuel for your body, you must eat food. Okay, so now the idea that the food you eat goes directly to the cells of your body in order to burn energy is not true. So when you eat food, it goes to the gut. Where does it go now?
You get to your bloodstream. It's absorbed through your digestion process.
It goes to your bloodstream. But where does the blood from the gut go? It all goes to the liver. The blood from the pancreas goes to the liver. Now, amino acids and sugars are the two macromolecules that require a functional liver, and insulin, without it, you die. Where does fat go when you eat it? The lymphatics. It doesn't go to the liver. It goes to the lymphatics, the thoracic duct. It's dumped into the bloodstream. It goes everywhere because the body needs fat or you die. So if you see emaciated, cachectic, bulimic, anorexic, or cachectic patient, are they likely going to live long?
No.
They look like they're on death's bed. But what about obesity? Why are they so sick? Is it fats causing disease, or the poisons that they put in their mouth that go to their gut? Metabolic syndrome is wrong. Poisoned by plants. That's all it is. The poisons of plants, they damage the mitochondrial nanomotors that make ATP. They damage every neurotransmitter, every nerve sheath, every skin covering, which is made up by glycocalyx, sugar, protein, lipid layer. Without it, you die. And so the microbes, the bacteria, yeast, and viruses, are they our friends or our foes? Name any of these bugs that are your friend.
I can't think of one.
Would you put them in a cup and say, here, drink this? This is good for you?
No.
Then why would you put it in a pill as a probiotic and tell people it's good for you?
Oh, man.
Probiotics are fueling the gut with microbes that ferment. Fermentation damages the glycocalyx, which causes leaky gut. It also causes leaky vessels, which causes damage to your vessels, especially your cardiac vessels, which causes heart disease. A cell is made up of fat, cholesterol, amino acids, proteins, and sugars. How do you fix the cell wall, which is fat? You plug it with fat. So who gets blamed for the cause of damage to the heart? Fat and cholesterol.
Yeah.
But they're not the cause. They're the fix. They're the cure. So carbohydrates, and when we use the term carbohydrate, we should just say plants. Because plants, now again, you can eat plants. You can eat meat. But the meat is actually the healthiest. And when I say meat, I'm not talking about lean meat. I'm talking about fatty meat. The king's cut, the queen's cut, or the peasant cut. Which one do you want?
King's cut.
You are what you eat. If you eat the mush, you stay weak and meek. Plus, the plants cause glycation, which is rusting of every cellular structure in your body.
Like oxidation?
Oxidative. Now, I say again, when we use the word oxidation, okay, so a car paint job oxidizes over time. It becomes dull. That's kind of oxidation, rust, damage. So basically, sugar plus water and oxygen cause rust. Breaks down the sugar layer. So just think of a car, the paint gets eroded, they begin to break through the metal and damage the inside of the car. Same thing's happening to the glycocalyx. The sugar layer is like the plants that are protecting the soil. Once they're broken down, the erosion begins to happen to the cells, and then the microbes and the other cells invade and then go to the liver, the gallbladder, the brain, the appendix. I mean, they go everywhere. Because if you think about it, in our, look at, even a carnivore diet doesn't mean you're going to live longer and not have disease. But what I've learned, it reduces the incidence of all these diseases we're suffering from.
Mhm.
It makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Depression, anxiety, suicidality, criminality are all secondary to a plant-based low animal fat diet. And what do we feed people and come by that line? You know, it's rice and beans and pasta and bread, and it's all sugar. Now, again, small amounts of sugar with low antigenicity and with minimal to no toxins are likely okay from time to time. But 3 to 6 meals a day are filling your gut, which is basically sending sugar to the liver all the time, which damages the hepatocytes. The hepatocyte function drops. The ability of the liver to convert glucose to fat fast enough keeps the glucose levels higher. Type 2 diabetes, insulin levels rise. Now, is there anything wrong with our insulin? Insulin resistance, insulin problem, or a liver problem?
I would say it's a liver problem.
I think it's a liver problem also. It may be true that some of the insulin, which is a glycoprotein, may also be damaged because the excess sugars in the bloodstream are damaging the glycobiome of the hormones, the receptors, and the manufacturing sites, the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi apparatus, and the cytoplasmic machinery that makes these hormones is damaged, secondary to the plant toxins, chemicals, the plant antigens, and the plant sugars, which are foreign. Again, foreign molecules cause a reaction. So if I put A blood into someone with B blood, you're going to cause a reaction.
And so that's what you're saying is happening when someone's consuming plants, as those foreign substances are coming in and causing all this damage.
Right. Live organisms, plants are live organisms, plus they harbor a tremendous amount of mold, yeast, bacteria, and viruses, which then make their way into your body. And then again, first in the gut, they ferment. They do it in the teeth, the gums. Gum disease is on the rise. It's the bacteria and the yeast that are fermenting the sugars that you're consuming 3 to 6 meals a day. Cereals, pasta, bread, and all the smoothies and shakes, and even the protein powders are fermentable. They're deadly for us.
So in your clinic, when did you start realizing or start trying that a carnivore or a keto diet could help these women who were wanting to get pregnant?
About 20 years ago, began to integrate. I really never talked about it. Then some patients were getting pregnant on paleo diet. I dug deep into it, and then I realized that they were. I learned about paleo, and then I found keto, and then I found carnivore, and then I went deep into trying to understand the cause of disease. The cause of disease is inflammation. You can be a vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, and do keto by eating less frequently, 1 meal a day to me, cook the carbohydrates well, preferably fry them, because the temperature of frying is hotter than the temperature of water boiling. The hotter the temperature, the more likely you're going to kill the microbes and disable the chemicals and make this, and simple the sugars. Simple sugars, they go to the liver faster and they're converted to fat faster. So a sugar spike causes an insulin spike, which causes a drop in glucose levels in order to lower your sugars, in order to convert the sugars to fat, because the job of insulin is to make fat out of the food you eat to build a store of fat in the liver and viscerally, retroperitoneally, intramuscularly, subcutaneously, in the osseous, and everywhere in your body, so that your backpack of fuel is your fat. And now you're going to go on your travels of the world, because you weren't a sedentary beast and you weren't like a grazing animal. You're a carnivore animal in your evolution. And so I talk about it way too much. I just came out with the babies book,
Yes.
babies for babies, bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and salt, Kiltz's ice cream, sometime in order to help people conceive and deliver a baby. And
Yeah.
again, our babies, they're born in ketosis. Moms that are pregnant are also eating a plant-based diet, which causing toxicity to the baby, birth defects, prematurity, preeclampsia, sudden death, intrauterine fetal demise, miscarriages, and infertility, all secondary to that plant-based low animal fat diet, which also contains estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and all the toxins that addict that child and also predispose it to future problems and likely damage their egg, their sperm, that are going to damage their progeny and increase the risk of cancers and early death, in my opinion.
So one of the questions I had about, eating a carnivore diet during pregnancy is when I'm just trying to look about information about that, because there's hardly any information about carnivore in pregnancy. You'll look at even Dr. Berry, and he'll go and kind of talk about some of these studies and refute them about neural tube defects or poor organ growth in these women who were eating a ketogenic diet. How do we know that it's safe? Because I understand the plants being harmful to your body and the fermentation and everything happening and that being a cause of disease, but I don't know how they're coming up with these studies then about it being harmful. How do I unify those two?
All right. So keto's the waiting room for the carnivores. We evolved as meat eaters. If we're eating plants, we probably did so because we couldn't eat anything else. But if you had to go outside right now and go find food, what would you eat? Did we eat corn and potatoes and rice and wheat? No. Okay. And so ultimately, is sugar good for you as a pregnant woman? Plants are sugar. Heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine come from what? Plants. Oxalates, phytates, glutens, latex come from what? Plants. Ricin. Ever heard of ricin? Castor bean plant makes ricin, the most deadly thing you can consume. How much will kill you? Tiny. Are peanuts good for you? They contain antigens to kill you, but they are controlling you. You will do anything for a plant, and they are controlling us to do their work, and they are going to kill us and make us fertilizer, but not quite right away. Now, again, it's radical, because is it better to eat fat or better to eat protein?
I would say both. I mean, both are equally important.
But does adipose tissue contain minerals, vitamins, amino acids, simple sugars, and fatty acids? Yes. Is that all the building blocks of your body? Yes. Okay, so now, does protein, lean meat, contain all the building blocks of your body?
No.
No, it does not. But adipose tissue does. And so you're waiting for the science to tell you the answer. I'm sorry. You're never going to, you're just going to have to take all of us crazy carnivores and then begin to see all the people doing this, because the doctors are not going to tell you to do that, because that's against their propaganda and their oath. Is fiber good for you? Where does fiber come from?
Plants.
A plant. Is it easily digested?
You can't digest it.
Well, you can, but not easily, because remember, you cook it, you chew it, you break it down.
Right.
So ruminant animals, do they eat fiber?
Yes.
They eat grass, okay, and plants. Do ruminant animals die and get sick of the plants they eat? Yes, they do. Big time. Big time. So there are many, many, many books and journals on plant poisoning in the livestock industry. Okay, so now why would the livestock industry be so concerned about poisonous plants? Because when the livestock are damaged or killed, someone loses money. But when you're damaged or killed, guess what? We make money. Yeah. Now look this is just a fun story. I'm not blaming anyone, a conspiracy. Okay. But why is alcohol and marijuana and tobacco and heroin, cocaine, marijuana so prevalent in our world? Does it just happen? I mean, did did Britain, United Kingdom, England provide opium for China and provide it and force them basically to consume it? And they made them addicted in order for England to make money because they needed something to sell. So let's sell them opium. How many people are addicted to ribeye steak? The critical part is that this is why I say bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and salt. That's the foundation. Fatty meat, beef bacon is fine, but it's really pork belly, beef belly. The fatty and the organ meats, I think, are great, important all the time. No. The problem is that how many vitamin deficiencies have we seen in diseases? Almost none. I'm sorry, vitamin D, rickets. I have never seen rickets. I've never seen scurvy. Okay. So in my opinion, we don't have a mineral vitamin deficiency. We're poisoned by plants and protein and a low-fat diet and eating 3 to 6 meals a day. So would I recommend carnivore for a human being? Always. Pregnant? Always. Are plants ever required? Never. Do we love them? Sure. And so when can you go carnivore? But like, oh, I got to transition. Why? When should you stop heroin? Well, let me transition off of heroin for the next year. Right? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yep, and you're still going to have withdrawals, just like they switch from a standard diet to a carnivore diet, just like if you're having withdrawals from heroin, you know. Obviously two different things, but there are still withdrawals from sugar and carb addiction.
When do you see, if ever, a majority of the medical community kind of adopting a carnivore diet or lifestyle? Do you ever foresee that happening?
Well, when's the Jewish tradition going to believe in Christianity or Christianity believe in Islam? Now, again, there's just belief systems and there's some foundation to all of them I think are valuable. But again, it's a belief system that is, if I'm taught this since a little like an infant, if this is our belief system, it's, you know, the lie that is just, it's not a lie because we've been taught it so long. You know, when you look at religion, politics, cultures, social belief systems, diets, I remember my diet, I'm Italian heritage. And ultimately, like, wait a minute, you're taking away my pizza, pasta, my Italian sausage and peppers, or Mexican, or whatever it is. You can't do that to me. That's who I am. We're attached to it like the flags we carry around the world saying, this is us. We're not that. We're humans together, one tribe. When? Never. Never.
Yeah, our society is so focused on everything revolving around food, and our whole identity is almost tied around food and in social gatherings, and it's and so many people, you know, use food as emotion or comfort, and it's just it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Well, I don't believe in the term food addiction. Okay, are you addicted to air?
Well, I meant sugar and carbs and
no. These are good, but because we use the term, oh, I have a food addiction. Okay, so now I've labeled myself as a food addict, right? And I'm a cancer survivor, or my something's in remission. Okay, but in fact, you're just poisoned by the incorrect things to put in your body, right? Okay, I poison ivy. I'm in poison ivy remission. Okay, so I don't have poison ivy on my body. I must be in remission, right? But in fact, because sugars and plants are highly, I mean, we'll use the word addicting, okay? But I'm not sure that's the right word. They taste good. But if there's no food and you come across a ripe fruit, it's not likely going to be the thing that's going to kill you unless you happen to be the rare person that's going to have anaphylactic reaction. Okay. So some fruits and vegetables from time to time, it's not the cause of our disease. It's all the time. And when we label ourselves, I'm weak, or I'm addicted, or I'm not that smart, or I can't do that, then we live that. That's where the mindset is so powerful. I am a lion. I am a carnivore. What can I do as a lion and a God? I can do anything. That's why the community, listen, this is the best communities I've ever learned in life. The medical communities are wonderful, but we're always arguing. We're having a conversation. And whether you're vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, carnivore, I don't care. If you want to know the cause of disease, high plant-based, low animal fat, frequent meals, and negativity. People label us, I'm fat, I'm incapable, I'm ugly. We label ourselves. Well, listen, why would you not call yourself the most beautiful, amazing person in the world, no matter what size, shape, age, weight, gender you are, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Positive
So
thinking.
that's such an important part for us in the health and wellness world. We're not talking enough about faith, positivity, kindness, love, generosity for all of us.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's welcome to my group. Although I'm primarily a carnivore, I sometimes have some French fries, a piece of bread, a bite of pasta, rare, like almost never. Oh, it's so good. But it's got a ton of butter. It's got a ton of pork belly, a Parmesan cheese, and cream. You see, if you add more fat to the sugars and the amino acids, you're gonna neutralize many of those toxins, in my opinion.
So before we wrap up, Patrick was saying that you just came out with a new book. Can you kind of tell us the name and tell us a little bit about your book that's coming out?
Well, I'm always trying to come out with every new book in the world, but it's Babies for Babies. It's basically, it's kind of a little bit, I'm like Keto Carnivore with some recipes. And it's just really working to share the concept that the bacon, eggs, butter, beef, ice cream, and salt diet is for babies and baby making. That beautiful baby in utero should get the fatty meat and should not get any significant plants. Keto is dead, in my opinion. Carnivore, master. Now again, okay, I'm not again, but that's what the whole idea is, that you can do that. You can get pregnant on it. It improves sperm, eggs, embryos, implantation. Throughout your pregnancy, you're going to feel better. And then you're going to deliver that baby. You're going to have great breast milk. That baby's going to suckle on that breast, get the very best bonding and nutrients. And you want that chubby baby. You don't want this lean nothing baby. You want a chubby baby. And then that baby's going to go right to the meat off the bone from the milk off the breast. And again, it's a game changer in these concepts we're talking about. Again, it's like, oh, Kiltz, there he goes again. But baby making, listen, nothing we do matters more than anything than baby making. That is it. That is it. Flatter him, feed him, and make love to him, and go shopping. And he'll shut you up. Again, I mean, men are dumb. Men are dumb. Excuse me, men. I apologize. Not your knowing things, but we're really simple. We will do everything and anything for our women.
That's true.
All we ask is a few things. Love us, tell us we're amazing, feed us steak every day, and make love to us. And Carnivore is a community of kick-ass amazing people. We invite the vegan, vegetarians, Mediterraneans, pescatarians into our clan because we're all the same. Go kill a cow. Would that be easy on your own without any weapons?
No. You had to have your tribe.
Go kill a plant. Is that easy?
Yep.
Guess what? When you cannot kill a plant, because the plant's going to kill you, but it's going to do it nice and slow, sometimes fast, but it's going to make really good fertilizer out of you. It's going to guide and direct you in order to make it better, save its seeds, change its seeds, move it around the world. The cow might be hard to kill, but once you eat it, it will make you the very best. It's a simple story. And science, it's in the science that's been around for thousands of years. None of this is new. But it took me 55 years to figure it out, and I'm still sharing it. And I am seeing more and more people listening and learning, and time to change it. certainly people in my young age group in this almost 70, and we're seeing people in 80 and 90 and 100 going carnivore. And we're going to begin to see more younger people who are recognizing the knowledge that we, the baby boomers, are bringing to the table, because our children, like yourselves and our children's children, are critical to our future. That is the most amazing thing in the universe.
I think that's one of the most exciting pieces about our channel right now is a lot of people, I feel like, in the carnivore space aren't tending to be younger people because they're not wanting to address their health early on. But it happens more so in our real life that we have friends who are in their 20s and 30s who have seen the difference we've made. And they're like, wow, carnivore, tell us about that. Yeah. And it's just so exciting to be able to share that with them. Yeah.
Carnivore strong. That's really it. And I believe, I mean, young men more than anything are attracted to this because they want to build muscles. They want to look good and attract a love mate. And that's what this is all about. And then they want the best. They want the best gene material, gametes that are going to work the very best, and they're going to build their families and live a most spectacular life. It's the most amazing thing. I'm seeing it also in so many people.
And so many people are they're healing so many things, not only physically but mentally as well, and it's pretty astonishing.
Well, think of the brain as another organ system, like the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, the spleen, all of our organ systems. The brain's just another one, right? So if the liver's not working right, you have certain diseases. The brain's not working right, you have certain diseases. So there's no separation in anything about a human. It's every disease, including depression, dyslexia, ADHD, OCD. In our medical world, it's a disease, a drug. What we're saying is, okay, whether you have a disease or not, I know the proper human diet, as our good friend Ken Berry likes to say, it's meat. It's fatty meat. And to me, it's fatty meat, faith, and fasting. I highly recommend eating less frequently. Empty the gut. I think 3-day fasting, 2 to 3 at least once or twice a month. The 5 to 7 days, at least once or twice a year. We do it in our community, January, July, for the 5-day fast. And I'm pushing it out there. I usually do a 2 to 3 day fast once a month. And we work at that usually beginning of the month, but it doesn't always happen. But we're doing the very best. But yeah.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us. It was a very interesting conversation. I learned a lot.
I did too.
That was a lot of great information.
I feel like I just need to go rewatch now and relearn again.
Again, we're rewiring the brain. Again, we've been sitting in front of the TV or whatever device, and all the billboards and all the stuff that tell us smoking is good, or marijuana is good, or alcohol is good, or fruits and vegetables good. Oh, meat is bad. Never eat that meat, young man. So we believe the story. We have to reprogram the mind to become the true lions of this world.
So for people who want to connect or learn more about you, where can we find you at?
Dr. Rob Kiltz, Dr. Kiltz, spell it out, whatever it is. Hey, Kiltz. drkiltz.com is a great place. We have a great community, Kiltz Mighty Tribe. It's just people listening and learning together. We're doing this together. And again, I'm not the smartest guy here. Plenty of really smart, amazing people that are sharing the story. I'm learning from them. And the more we share this, the better. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Look at our books on Amazon. I've got Living Your Best Life. I've got meditation books on spirituality. I talk a lot about how we need to bring these to bearing. I have a lot of book recommendations because reading, listening, but also get out there and do artwork, painting, pottery, music. These are all so important things that this is not like, did you exercise today? Like, what did you do? We're being creative. That's it. And there's no evidence that exercise makes you healthier. It's actually the 5th leading cause of disease, exercise.
That'd be a conversation for another time.
Love to do another time.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to have you for more topics and have you delve into that for us.
Was there anything you want to leave with our audience before we let you go?
I really appreciate everyone in the community and our, everyone, wherever you're at. And this is a very important topic because of everything I've learned as a physician. What you put in your mind and your mouth and how you move and immerse your body in your life is the most important thing.
Well, thank you for joining us. It was an honor and a privilege, and we'll see y'all next time. Y'all stay strong.
All right. God bless.